What if I told you the only thing standing between you and your dreams is that voice in your head? The one that whispers, "What if I'm not good enough?" It's called self-doubt. It sneaks in just when you're ready to take a bold step forward, planting seeds of hesitation and fear. But think about it. Has that voice ever pushed you closer to your goals, or has it only kept you stuck where you are? Isn't it time to stop letting self-doubt steal the opportunities waiting for you? The truth is that self-doubt is something we all face. Even the most successful people in the world feel it. Steve Jobs, he doubted himself. Oprah Winfrey, she doubted herself. J.K. Rowling, she doubted herself so much that her book was rejected by 12 publishers. Yet they pushed forward. Why? Because they understood one fundamental truth. Self-doubt is not a stop sign. It's a challenge, a test of how badly you want something. Take a moment and think about your own life. How many times have you hesitated because you weren't sure if you'd succeed? How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you let that voice in your head convince you that you weren't ready, that you weren't enough? Isn't it frustrating to think about all the what-ifs? What if you had tried? What if you had believed in yourself just a little more? As humans, we're wired to fear failure. But here's the irony. The most successful people embrace failure because they know it's part of the journey. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Imagine if he had stopped at the first sign of doubt. Would we even have the light bulb today? Self-doubt thrives in silence and secrecy. It feeds on your fears and insecurities. But you know what starves it? Action. Every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you weaken that voice of doubt. You prove to yourself that you are capable. Even if you stumble, even if you fall, you're still moving forward, and that's what matters. Here's another question for you. When was the last time you celebrated yourself? Not for a big achievement, but for showing up, for trying, for not giving up. So many of us are quick to criticize ourselves for every mistake, but we rarely give ourselves credit for the courage it takes to try in the first place. Why is it so much easier to be kind to others than it is to be kind to ourselves? Remember this quote by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Think about that for a moment. What if it's not your failures you're afraid of, but your potential? What if deep down, you know you're capable of so much more, but the thought of stepping into that power feels overwhelming? The truth is, you don't have to be fearless to overcome self-doubt. You just have to take the next step. Even if your legs are shaking, even if your heart is racing. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it. It's saying, I may not feel ready, but I'm going to try anyway. So the next time self-doubt whispers in your ear, remember this. You are not your doubts. You are the actions you take despite them. You are the persistence, the resilience, the belief in something greater than your fear. Look back at how far you've already come, at the challenges you've overcome, at the moments you thought you couldn't go on but did anyway. Those moments are proof of your strength. You have everything you need to succeed inside you. The question is, will you let self-doubt win, or will you rise above it? Will you keep waiting for the perfect moment, or will you create your own? The power to unlock your true potential is already yours. It always has been. Now, it's time to believe it. Have you ever thought about where self-doubt really comes from? It's often rooted in the stories we tell ourselves. Maybe someone once told you that you weren't smart enough, talented enough, or strong enough, and over time, you started to believe it. Or maybe you faced setbacks and failures that made you question your abilities. But here's the thing. Those stories, those moments, they don't define you. They're just chapters in your life, not the whole book. And you hold the pen to write the rest of the story. Think about a baby learning to walk. They stumble, fall, and even cry, but they always get back up. Why? Because they don't know what failure is yet. They don't question their ability to succeed. They just keep trying. So why do we as adults let failure stop us? Why do we let self-doubt convince us that we can't do something before we've even tried? Imagine if your favorite heroes and role models had given up because of self-doubt. Would we have stories of great leaders, inventors, and artists? Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Can you believe that? He could have let that moment define him, but instead, he used it as fuel. He once said, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Now think about your own life. What are the dreams you've been holding back on because of fear? What goals have you set aside because self-doubt told you they were too big, too far out of reach? Picture yourself a year from now. Will you look back and wish you'd started today? Here's something powerful to remember. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to climb the whole mountain in one day. Just take the first step, and then another. Every small victory builds momentum. Every time you act in spite of doubt, you're training your mind to believe in your abilities. One of the biggest lies self-doubt tells you is that you're alone in this, that no one else feels the way you do. But let me tell you, you're not alone. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has stood in your shoes, feeling the weight of uncertainty. What sets them apart isn't that they never doubted themselves, it's that they didn't let doubt stop them. Here's a question for you. What would your life look like if you stopped doubting yourself? If you decided right now to believe in your ability to figure things out, even if you don't have all the answers yet? The truth is, you'll never feel 100% ready. There will always be doubts, always be fears. But progress doesn't come from waiting for the fear to disappear. It comes from acting despite it. A wise man once said, "Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will." Let that sink in. It's not the act of trying and failing that holds most people back. It's the act of never trying at all. Self-doubt builds walls around the life you want, but those walls aren't as strong as you think. They crumble the moment you decide to push past them. Start small, start messy, start imperfectly, but just start. No one is expecting you to have it all figured out. The people who succeed aren't the ones who know everything. They're the ones who keep going, who keep learning, who keep growing. And don't forget to celebrate your wins, no matter how small they seem. Every time you take a step forward, every time you silence that voice of doubt, you're building confidence. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you earn through action. So today, make a promise to yourself. Promise to take one small step toward your dreams, even if it scares you. Promise to be kinder to yourself when doubt creeps in. Promise to remember that you're capable of more than you know. Because at the end of the day, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that you can have it. And that belief, it starts with you. Have you ever stopped to think about how many dreams are lost to self-doubt? Not because people aren't talented enough or capable enough, but because they never even try. Imagine standing at the edge of an opportunity, and instead of stepping forward, you let your fears pull you back. That hesitation, that moment of doubt, it feels so real, doesn't it? But ask yourself this. What if it's not your abilities holding you back, but the story you're telling yourself about what you can't do? Self-doubt loves to play tricks on your mind. It makes you question your worth, your talents, your purpose. But let me tell you something powerful. Self-doubt is nothing more than fear in disguise. It's afraid of your growth, afraid of your potential, because once you realize what you're truly capable of, self-doubt loses its power over you. Think about this. Every great achievement in history started with someone who doubted themselves. Walt Disney was told he lacked creativity. Albert Einstein was labeled a failure by his teachers. Imagine if they had listened to the voices of doubt around them. What's the lesson here? The only way to silence self-doubt is to prove it wrong. Not with words, but with action. When self-doubt tells you you can't, you respond with, "Watch me." When it says, "You'll fail," you reply, "I'd rather fail trying than never know what's possible." Success isn't about being fearless. It's about being brave enough to move forward despite the fear. Every time you take that step forward, you weaken the grip self-doubt has on your life. And remember, growth isn't a straight line. There will be setbacks, mistakes, and moments when you feel like giving up. But those moments aren't signs of failure. They're proof that you're on the right path. Every stumble teaches you something new. Every challenge you overcome strengthens you for the next one. It's okay to doubt yourself sometimes. It's part of being human. But don't let it define you. Instead, use it as a reminder that you're stepping into new territory, that you're pushing beyond your comfort zone. The only people who never feel self-doubt are the ones who never take risks. Take a moment to reflect on the things you've already overcome in your life, the battles you've fought, the fears you've conquered, the victories, big or small, that you've achieved. Those moments are proof of your resilience, of your strength, and if you've done it before, you can do it again. One of the most beautiful things about life is that it gives us the chance to rewrite our story at any moment. You don't have to be who you were yesterday. You don't have to carry the weight of your doubts forever. You have the power to choose courage, to choose belief, to choose action. So let me ask you this. What's one thing you've been holding back on because of self-doubt? What's one dream, one goal, one step you've been too afraid to take? Think about it for a moment. What would happen if you decided right now to take that step? Remember, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't need everything to be perfect. The most important thing is to start, because every step you take brings you closer to the person you're meant to become. If this message spoke to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's one small step you're ready to take to silence self-doubt and move closer to your goals? Share your journey in the comments. It might inspire someone else to take their first step too. If you found this video helpful, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support could help this message reach someone who needs it most. Let's break through our limits together and show the world what's possible.